This week on Engage the Sage.
Hi everyone, I'm Don Saucier. Welcome to this week's episode of Engage the Sage. This week, I'm going to be talking to you about senioritis. You've probably heard of senioritis before. You've probably suffered from senioritis before. This is a situation where students, as they near the end of that college career, start to suffer a little bit of decline in their motivation. They're aware it's almost over. This wonderful thing called college is almost over. They're going to graduate, they're going to go do wonderful things, and it's a little bit hard sometimes to focus on that remaining work in that last little bit of that college career. My university has just come back from spring break. We've got 7 weeks left in this semester, and I know that I'm going to be dealing with senioritis in some of my classes. While senioritis probably comes with a dip in motivation, it shouldn't come with us giving up on our students. So what we're going to be talking about today are things that I think we should keep in mind to help deal with senioritis in our classes. One of the things that I want you to understand about senioritis is it's going to happen. This is something I think is probably going to be inevitable. We've had students who have been hard charging over several years of their college career. They're about to start the next chapter of their lives. This is a scary chapter, right? All the excitement, all the anxiety, all that excite nerve is going to be happening to them, and they are concerned about that. And they might be just trying to hold on to that college lifestyle just a little bit longer. That can get in the way of their complete focus and concentration in our classes. So in not giving up on those students, I want us to try even harder to engage them. This is going to be good for them. It's also going to be good for you. This is going to make that last bit of that semester better for you. If you come in and you reflect that lack of motivation, if you reflect that senioritis in your own demeanor and your own perspective on the class, it's going to be miserable to walk in and teach in those last weeks. So I'm going to encourage you to take on that mantle of engaging your students even if they're less motivated. One of the games that I often play in my class when I'm teaching is I try to engage the least engaged student in that class. Often it's a student maybe sitting in the back that maybe is doing something else. I'm going to try to be as engaging as I can be and as valuable and as interesting as I can be regarding the content to get that disengaged student to look up, to engage in my content and in my class. And even if I fail, even if I can't engage that least engaged student, I'm probably going to do a better job of engaging all the other students in my class in the meantime. When our students experience senioritis, it's often going to coincide with us experiencing that grumpy time of that semester, when the semester starts to get a little bit long. So what we can do is kind of think about when we're grumpy in class, as we start to near the end of that semester, it's not because we don't want to teach, it's just because the semester is starting to get heavy. This is the same thing as contributing to senioritis in our class. When our students experience senioritis, it's not that they're lazy, it's not that they don't want to work, it's not that they don't want to learn. They're just dealing with a lot of stuff. And what we can do is we can help them understand that our class can be the oasis for them from all the other things going on in their life. I've talked before about the classroom being an oasis for me. This is where I get away from all of my other personal and professional responsibilities, all those other challenges that are waiting for me when class ends. I can escape from them in my class. So while it's an oasis for me, it can also be an oasis for my students. It can be the place where that end of college, all that existential crisis that goes with the end of college, it doesn't have to be affecting them in that class time. Now, to be honest, I can't remove those challenges and I can't truly make sure that they see my class as an oasis, but I can try. And if I make my class somewhere where they can feel safe, where they can feel comfortable, where we can talk about awesome content together, maybe, just maybe, that senioritis won't be as big an issue because the things that causing it aren't getting to them as heavily during my class time. One of the things that we can do to help with this is to remind our students and ourselves that we aren't done yet. We have more to do in our classes, and it's going to be awesome stuff that we still have to do in our classes. As I've said, I have 7 weeks left this semester in my classes. This is a spring semester, so that senioritis might start kicking in for some of my students. But I have 7 weeks of really good stuff coming up. I'm going to let myself know that. I'm going to let my students know that we've got some really good stuff coming up. So stay with me for as long as you can. I talk all the time about trickle-down engagement. When I'm engaged in the content, when I'm excited about the content, it makes it easier for my students to engage in that same content, and then they do better in their demonstrations of learning. So really, one of the things that I'm going to try to do in these last 7 weeks to help my students deal with senioritis is to really bring the engagement genuinely, because I have some really cool stuff to share with them. One of the things I might also remind them, and I don't want to focus too much on the end of that college career, but maybe remind them that, hey, you are still in college. This is a place where you get to grow your knowledge base and you get to grow your skills. After college, it's going to be harder to do that. Unless you go to graduate school, it's going to be hard to kind of find that opportunity for higher education in your lives. It's not impossible, but it's never going to fit your schedule better than it probably does now. And I realize it probably doesn't fit in even well now. The reason that I can tell my students genuinely that in these last 7 weeks we have awesome content coming up is because I scheduled my class to do that. I scheduled my class intentionally to have some of the most engaging, fascinating, intriguing, relevant content at the end to keep that engagement high during that grumpy time and during the time for senioritis. It's easier for me to teach when I know I got great stuff coming. And I'm sure it's easier for my students to learn when we've got great stuff coming. So I structure my class knowing there's going to be a natural dip in engagement, a natural dip in energy toward the end, and I let the inherently fascinating nature of some of that content make up for some of those dips. So when you are setting up your course schedule and your syllabus, keep in mind that you want to have some awesome stuff at the end to deal with the grumpy time and with senioritis. One of the things that I also highly recommend is having projects and assignments at the end that are really going to provide a capstone for what your class is doing, maybe even a capstone for that college education, where students get to integrate a lot of their learning into something personalized and creative. One of the things that I do with this is I have homework for life in a lot of my classes, where I have my students think about how they're going to apply the content that they've learned after college. Something they're going to do not just for the exam in my class or that final project, but something they're going to do forever to make their lives and their worlds a better place. And we're going to do a separate video on homework for life in the future, so keep your eyes out for that one. Toward the end of this semester too, it might be time to think about scheduling mental health days, catch-up days, or well-being days in your class to let people know that, hey, this is heavy, this is rough, but we're going to get through this together, and I do care about you holistically as people. As I've said many times, good teachers teach content, great teachers teach people. Reminding your students that you understand that they are people dealing with real things, I think will help create some of that connection and keep them with you even when they're experiencing senioritis. One of the last points I want to make is that we should be empathetic to senioritis. I've mentioned this kind of parallels that experience of that grumpy time of the semester for instructors, but I'm willing to bet that you experienced senioritis. I know that I did at the end of my undergraduate education and the end of my graduate education, where as I was getting close to that end, I just wanted to finish. I just wanted to be done, and it was hard for me to motivate myself to finish up those last things. So be empathetic to that experience because we experienced it and also survived it. Validating your students' feelings, validating their anxiety, let them know you know senioritis is a thing, I think is authentic. And this is that middle component of peace. I think we should bring peace to our classes, that preparation, that expertise, that authenticity, that caring and engagement. And I think acknowledging these feelings of senioritis and letting your students know that you're still there for them despite the senioritis they might be going through is a great acknowledgement both of authenticity and of caring in your class. As your students near the end of your college career, they are scared, they are anxious, because this is something that provokes fear and anxiety, and it rightfully does. So senioritis is something that we should understand. It is something that we should take into account in the design of our classes and definitely the teaching of our classes to help our students deal with this existential crisis in front of them. So as I'm looking at these last 7 weeks of my class, I'm thinking about this awesome content that I have with my students. I'm also thinking about this is the last 7 weeks that I'll have with this cohort of students. So I'm going to go into this with engagement, and I'm going to appreciate the time that I have with my students, and I'm going to respect them taking the time that they have left, that little time that they have left, and spending it with me. So rather than disparaging or hating on senioritis, I'm going to appreciate what my students can give, and as long as they stay with me, I'm going to stay with them. In the comments below, I would love to hear how you deal with senioritis in your class. I'd also love to hear about your experiences with senioritis if you're willing to share them. Thank you for watching this episode of Engage the Sage. Please like, subscribe, sign up for notifications, share us on social media, and we'll see you next time on Engage the Sage.